Hi, welcome to my video. This is going to be my first plant video for my new Random Rob 3000 channel, which is kind of a tongue-in-cheek title, but I do have a lot of different interests, so that's why I went with the Random Rob. And I thought at the time I was watching, I think, RoboCop, and they have a car called the Sucks 6000 and I just thought it would be funny to just kind of play off that RoboCop theme with Random Rob 3000. So what this video is going to be is plants that I've just gotten over in January, and this video has been in the making for a really long time. Clear back last January of 2020, I was planning on building this channel. I'd got all the channel stuff set up, like all the different accounts and passwords and all that stuff, and I was getting ready to kick it off last spring, and then COVID hit and I kind of got kicked out of the place where I was living. I wasn't really kicked out of where I was living. I was living in an apartment that was attached to my sister's house, and she needed it for one of her kids. So it was easier for me to just, and I wanted to get out of where I was living anyway, so I moved to a different state. I am coming to you now from Page, Arizona. I was in Richfield, Utah, so it's about a 4-hour move that I made last August with most of my plants. I still have a couple. I have a ginormous aloe that's still up there at my sister's house that I have to get, and then I have some more outdoor plants that I would like to bring back that are in pots. Like I've got some iris that I started from seed just to see what they would do. They haven't bloomed yet because that was their first year. And I've got some Peruvian daffodils and stuff like that. So this is going to be plants that I have acquired since just this month, so January of 2021, and my cats are really interested that I'm talking because I live alone and they don't usually hear me talk. So today even so in living in Page, so I'll preface this, there are no nurseries or anything like that here. It's a tiny town. And in fact, one of the plants I wanted to put in today is I couldn't get it because Page does not deliver their mail. You have to use a P.O. box for the whole town. I've never lived anywhere like this before. And I come from a much smaller town than Page, so it's not just due to the size of the town. It's just something about Page. You have to have a P.O. box. So it actually arrived today. But the post office is closed today. So when I went there, they do sort their mail. And if you get packages, they are usually pretty good about putting them into a big, like, storage locker that you can then go get them with, a special key that they leave in your P.O. box. They didn't do that today. They just left a little card in there, like, you have a package to pick up on Monday. So what it is a black cardinal philodendron. It's going to sit there today, all of Saturday, all of Sunday tomorrow until I pick it up on Monday on my way to work. Page luckily is small enough that I can get to the post office, pick up my plants, bring them back home, and then go to work. Oh, there's Sam. Hi, Sam. And don't you be going up in the plants. My cats do like plants. Oh, come on. So the ones that are poisonous, I have to put up high. I have this ginormous shelf. This is facing a north-facing window, which is not the best light in the world, but it's pretty much all I've got. That's why I've got grow lights up on top. What I'm using for grow lights are actually aquarium lights for growing corals. They're very bright. I have had some burning issues with, who burns? Like my Pothos and Joy doesn't like it. They need to be a lot lower. I had a Hoya, it's really small little leaves. I can't remember what it's called. It turned completely purple and was not liking it either, so I moved it in to a different shelf in the apartment that's just fluorescent light, and it's much happier. And I have I don't know if it's a snow queen or just a marble queen. It's heavily got a lot of white in it, and that one does not like it either, being up too high. So if I have to lower them quite a bit on this shelf to make it so they don't burn. And it's not due to heat, it's just due to the brightness, because they're LEDs. Anyway, let me get into what I got so far in January. We've only got 1 week left. And the black cardinal's not going to get here until Monday, which is a bummer. It's also payday this week, so I'm sure I may wind up with something. The other thing I was wanting to bring up about Page, so there's the only place to get plants locally. Well, it was Safeway and Walmart. And then when I went to Safeway yesterday on my way home, it looked like they were disassembling their plant stand area. So it looks like that option is going to go away for local plants, and I'm going to be stuck with Walmart. And the Walmart here has about one little shelf set aside for houseplants. It's pretty sad. Today they actually had 2 shelves. They were both about 6 feet long and about 4 feet tall with different plants. Not very many. I think there was about 6 different kinds of plants you could get. So out of those, there were several to choose from. So the one I got is this big Dieffenbachia. I think it's a tiki, but I'm not absolutely sure. It looks like a tiki. It's got the camouflagey type leaves, so I'm not sure if that's what it is or not. If you have an idea, just leave a note in the comments. It's a big, like, I don't know if that's a 1 gallon or a 5 gallon pot. I don't know. It's big. It's kind of heavy. And of course it's super watered because it's Walmart. So I got to let it dry out. I hope it will live. It was $15. So nice, cheap. All my plants are cheap now because that's the only, I'm limited to where I can go. Other plants that I have gotten, most of the others, you take a look, all of the others that I have gotten, I did through Etsy. And that's like the black cardinal. It also came from an Etsy shop. I can't remember who. So I'll start with this guy. I'm not really sure when I got it. This is a, they call it a strawberry begonia, and it's not a begonia. It's something else. It's a sassafras or something like that. What does it say? It doesn't say. But it's got quite a few little babies on it already. And I have plans for this. I'm going to make a little begonia pot with this Talavera style pot. I actually have 2 of these, and one of them is going to be all begonia-ish type plant. So I am actually going to put that in there, even though it's not a begonia. And then they're going to go up on top of, way back there in the back, I've got that's an old cat scratch post that I converted to a plant stand with Talavera Spanish tiles. So that's where this is going to be. It's going to go up on top of that plant stand with that begonia, or, well, it's not a begonia. I'm also going to put in, I call it a dragon wing begonia. I don't really know what it is. I have one right up here, if you can see it. It's kind of like an angel wing, but has really rough edges, and it's a much deeper red on the leaf color. So I have a cutting of that is growing really well in a small pot. And the other one I want to put in it is I think it's just called a stained glass begonia. I'm not sure if all 3 of them are going to fit. They should, because they're all just like cuttings. They're small. None of them are mature. And then Another video that we'll make later this spring is going to be how to make one of these plant stands, because I have another one of those catch scratching posts that they have ripped all of the burlap off of, and I have enough tile to make another one, so I will be making another plant stand. And I also have another one of those Talavera style pots. And we'll put them outside, probably on either side of my door or just inside my door. I'm not sure where they're going to go. So, what else have I got? So I've got, and again, these all came off of like Etsy. This is the Philodendron Brazil, which is really quite pretty. It was one that was on my want list for a while, and I finally found it for a decent price. So I got that. This one, what are you? I think this is a domino peace lily. So, and it's tiny, so I hope it will do well. I have a much larger peace lily. I must have moved it. It's not in this room. It must be out in my dining area. But it's just a plain peace lily, and this one does have some variegation. You can see on that leaf, and it's supposed to be more spotted. And some people have said it's, I think Nick Pleggy said it's easier, he thinks, than the regular, just plain green one. So I'm hoping that's true. What else have we got? So my other big, and actually this needs to be watered. Oh, impulse buy was this philodendron, and it is, so it's labeled, they reused, this was off of, maybe I reused it. They probably sent it bare root. And I potted it in this thing that says made in pinks. It's not a pink, which is dianthus. This is a philodendron, I think it's a Xanadu, actually. So we'll see. It does have some ruffly on the edges of the leaves there. So, and those should get deeper and deeper as it gets older and older. And so hopefully that will do well. One of my more recent ones, it was, and this was an Etsy store, and if you have an Etsy store, I can't remember how this guy did this. Basically, you got a really pretty decent discount, or the prices were listed at a really low price, but it was only if you bought 3 at a time. So that suckered me in, and I had to buy 3. The one I really wanted, though, was this Senecio wax ivy, and it's variegated, and it's one that I really have been wanting for a long time. Again, this was Nick Pleggy. You're such an enabler. This is all your fault. As a replacement for English ivy, because it does look like English ivy, but it's much easier to care for, and it's semi-succulent, so you don't have to water it hardly ever. So, and this was from a succulent specialty store, Etsy store. I wish I could remember the name. I'll have to go back and look, and I may post that in my comments. Ooh, this is heavy. I need to let this dry out quite a bit. I have no idea what this is off the top of my head. I should have looked before I started making the video. They look like an echeveria, but that's not what it is. It's the other tropical version of a hens and chicks that can't stand being out in frozen weather. So that is why it's in the house in a pot. Because I usually do put hens and chicks outdoors. And the third one from that acquisition is this really tiny leafed. Now this one does need to be watered. He is really dry. It's called a red carpet jade, I believe. And it has these really tiny leaves that I'm thinking eventually will get bigger. Maybe. I have a standard jade behind me somewhere that has the much bigger, like paddle shaped leaves. This one is very small. You can see how tiny those leaves are, and if they get good light, and I may have to move this in here under these lights, because I think when I got it, and this is another one that came in the mail, it actually did have a little bit of red along the edges. The leaves are all supposed to have some red tint along the edges, and it looks like they've lost it under just the fluorescent lighting that I have where it's currently sitting. I am going to be doing a whole big rearrangement of my plants, because like I said, I have some that are in here under these lights that are burning that need to go back to the fluorescent lighting, and then like this little crassula jade plant that is losing its coloring because it's not getting enough light. Only got two more. One of them is another Dieffenbachia, which is funny because Dieffenbachias is one of those. So I've been growing plants and gardening for a long time. March is my 55th birthday, so I've been doing plants ever since I was in high school, back in the 80s. I re-landscaped our whole front part of our yard, did a lot in the backyard, clearly like when I was living with my parents, and anytime I'm in apartments like this, I've always had house plants. When I had a house in Albuquerque, I redid the whole front yard and backyard to be plants, and I had just all kinds of stuff. I even had aquatic plants in a pond and all that fun stuff. So I've been getting back into house plants lately because now I'm back in apartment living, and I've never had Dieffenbachias until this month. This one was the first one I got, and that tiki is the second one, like ever in my whole life that I've ever bought one. Because growing up, it was one of those common plants that everybody and their grandma had, even back in the 70s, and I just never liked them. But now I've warmed up to them. I really kind of like them. So, and one of the reasons I like them is for my last plant is because they look to me like big versions of these plants. This is an Aglaonema, and it's not a silver bay. This is white rain, I believe. Oh, and that Dieffenbachia was a Marianne. At least that's what it was sold as. So we'll see. This guy's dry on top, but I can tell there's some moisture in there, so he probably doesn't need to be watered for another couple days. But this is another plant that I didn't start getting into until I think and I'm sure it probably was either neck plaguey or plantarina. Those are my two of my favorites that I've been watching even before the pandemic began. I have been watching their plant tube videos. So, and they are the ones who turned me on to Aglaonemas or Chinese evergreens. So, and this one was also bought online. The first one I ever got is behind me somewhere back there. It's right here. Whoops. Oh, that was my microphone. I was like, what the heck was that? It's like, because I looked over and it's like nothing fell. It's like, oh, it's my mic. The battery for the mic. Anyway, it's I think it's a Siam. I'm not sure. It's mostly green with a red edge around it, and I would reach for it, but I can't quite reach it from here. I don't think you can see these either, though. They're just out of frame. So, anyway, thanks for watching. One of my next videos, even though I moved clear last August, my apartment is still a freaking disaster. That's what happens when you get old. You accumulate a ton of shit, and it's really hard to find places to put it when you get constrained back into apartment living. So I've got stacks and stacks and stacks of stuff. I did put that plant stand on purpose on top of that chair. It doesn't usually go there because because I knew I wanted to talk about it in this video. So anyway, I'm just rambling at this point, so thanks for watching and hope to catch you on my next video.